Okay. Got that in a knot. There we go. See if that'll go away. Nope. Alright, so the chat thing's still having trouble from yesterday, I guess. Whatever. I'm pretty sure it'll work. It's just going to say that it's under maintenance. You can safely ignore that. Although maybe there'll be some issues. And if they are, well, it's maintenance's fault. That's how it works. Alright. Link the past. Ooh. Very hot today. 37 degrees Celsius. So roughly 100 degrees Fahrenheit today, roughly. Very hot day today. But got my iced Coca-Cola Zero here. And we're gonna make it work. Alright. What's that in C? 37. 37. It's pretty hot today. It's gonna be hot for like the next week or so. Although, well, no, unless the typhoon comes up and turns this way. Maybe it'll change a little bit then, but it's supposed to head more towards China. Alright, let's kill that one time. Just to be sure. Okay, let's go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize how bad that was. Like, I was vaguely aware that the EU, because of, you know, like building ordinances and things like that, you know, some of the stuff was kind of old there, but I didn't realize how hard it was to get AC sometimes. I think I'm going to need to restart this. Yep. Try that again. Oof. Sorry, I didn't really get to say anything last time. You kind of caught me mid-rant. But, you said you had tests or something, I believe. How'd that go? About as bad as I expected. I guess that's so qualitatively different than as good as I expected. So it went as expected. Yep. Well, as long as they are not going to kick you out of school, or not let you graduate or anything like that, not the end of the world. Test scores aren't everything. Yeah, no, retaking classes kind of sucks. That's too bad. Especially if you gotta pay for them. Well, hopefully second time around, it'll go better. At least there won't be many surprises. Oh. Yeah, like, you know, I had friends and acquaintances who got held back when I was in school. In other words, they had to repeat a grade. I've known Japanese kids who had to do the same thing too. Like over here, it doesn't happen until you get to high school. And usually, if it gets to that point, most people just quit school because they kind of find it, they find it a little bit embarrassing, or honestly, if it's gotten to the point where you have to repeat a grade over here, you're probably not coming to school anyway. So like most of them are just kind of like, yeah, I'm just done. And then a lot of them, they go to like correspondence schools, or they go to a different school. Usually things work out one way or another. Or some of them just go get jobs after that. I mean, the guys that I knew that did that back when I was in the US, best as I know, most of them turned out okay. I mean, sometimes it's for the best, honestly. I mean, because like if you don't learn like the things you need to learn and then you move ahead, then you end up in a class where you don't understand anything you need to learn to be able to take the class, and then you end up in even worse shape. And you know, social promotion, like people do that because, you know, they don't want people to feel bad about themselves for, you know, like not passing classes or things like that. But if you want to know what's really going to make somebody feel bad, is being in a room full of people and thinking that they all understand something but you don't, and then trying to pretend that you do. Like that's stressful. And like, I think when, you know, adults, you know, to be quite honest, like out of cowardice, they just won't tell somebody that, yeah, you need to do it again. They don't do them really any favors. So like for you, like you're probably disappointed you have to take the classes again, but if you need to take the classes again and this is something you want to do, then it's probably best to take the classes again. Like, it's better that you understand the stuff and kind of have to take a hit now than, you know, get through it, not understand it, and then find out that you need to understand it later on, when it's not as easy to, you know, redo that kind of thing. So I mean, it's really kind of a matter of perspective. I mean, if you're the one that has to like do it again, like you're obviously going to feel like, you know, like why do I have to do this again, and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, like telling people something that's not true just to make them feel better doesn't really help people out. That doesn't mean you have to, you know, like be mean or anything like that, but if somebody needs to learn something, then you need to make sure that they learn it. Like at the end, like that's the best result for everybody involved. Now the thing is, like, having been from the educator side, now most of the time when somebody, you know, doesn't get through on a test, it's usually, you know, like, well, they didn't study enough or something like that. But, you know, sometimes it's the educator didn't do as good a job as they needed to, too. And sometimes they didn't, you know, they didn't explain things they needed to do, or they don't, you know, manage their class very well. Sometimes it's as silly as, like, the teacher just builds up animus between themselves and the student, and then because the student doesn't like that teacher, like, they just don't want to do anything. Which, you know, yeah, you can say that's a student problem too, but, you know, who's the adult here? Like, as a teacher, you can't ever let it get to that point. Oh, you have to go to military school. Wow. Did not know that. What's military school like? Do they make you run? You have to take, like, physical fitness tests and things like that, or do they not worry about that much? So, you know, like with Korea, like for guys in Korea, like you got your, I think 2 years of mandatory military service that you have to do sometime before I think you turn 25 or something like that. I forget exactly what the rules is. So, like, how does it work there? Okay, so it's not like literal military service, it's more just kind of very, very basic stuff. What are like the age requirements or age restrictions on it? Yeah, the dropping out of high school thing kind of makes sense. Yeah. Surprised they make females do it. Well, I guess maybe not that surprised. So you don't get like in trouble or anything if you're like out of shape or overweight or anything like that? Oh, they don't make you go if you have a job. That's surprising. I was unlucky. Oh, come on. Like, if you have certain types of jobs, I can understand maybe, but I'd imagine, like, for most general jobs, they just tell you you gotta go, and then you can... Like, they can't fire you while you're gone. That would seem to be the most logical thing, and with things like this, usually it's the most sensible thing. Usually, not always. Well, that would make sense. Doesn't really make too much sense to go through all the trouble of calling someone back just for it. Like, I don't know if you guys have jury duty or anything like that. I don't even know if you guys have juries or not, but, you know, like in the US, we have, you know, juries for trials, and so depending on where you live, you got to go to jury duty every now and then, and like they just draw people at random, and when you have jury duty, it doesn't really matter what your job is, for the most part, you have to go, and they'll pay you for the time you go, but it's like really shit money. Yeah, bad eyesight is about the quickest way to get disqualified for the military, although with the way it's going right now, like, they'll probably be able to tell people soon that, well, if you can see with glasses, then we can make you a drone operator or something. I mean, the thing is, yeah, like, if they have a choice, they won't take people with, like, bad eyesight or bad hearing or things like that, but when they need people bad enough, they'll find something for you to do. Just ask the Ukraine. Ah. Well, don't worry, like, drone operators generally don't have to be, like, right next to the drone. It's more, like, remote piloting. Honestly, probably within a few years, they'll be self-piloted. Although they've got like, the self-piloted ones have a problem right now because, you know, electronic jamming and things like that makes them a little bit easier to disable, so... I don't know if you've seen it or not, but what they do in the Ukraine now is they use, like, super long fiber optic cables now, so that you can't electronically jam them. Now, the thing is, if you cut the cable, then you can still disable them, but you can see pictures of, like, where all of those cables are just kind of left behind by these drones as they were flying long distances. It's almost like spider webs. Yeah, like, military stuff, some people just aren't really made for that. Like, I get it. I mean, hopefully, you know, you hope that for most people like that, they never actually find themselves in a situation where they have to do anything that would require military training, but... And for the most part, there are people that will take care of it beforehand, one way or another. But it is one of those things where when you need it, you're glad you've got it. Oh man, what are you guys doing? Gotta be like Dreadnoughtus. Oh no, damn it. Whatever. Let's keep going. Ah, that's stupid. But anyway, at least it's over for now. Again, just be glad it's military school and not actual military. You know, there's a time I thought about joining the military when I was younger. But the reason I ultimately gave up on it was I thought about it a lot, and I wasn't convinced that when the time came that if I had to kill someone from a distance, you know, that wasn't necessarily doing anything to me, I wasn't sure I could do it. And I decided if that was the case, well, I probably shouldn't do it. I don't know if I feel that way anymore, but back then that's how I felt. I mean, that's what kind of, like... people in the military that, you know, you join the military and then when it's actually time to, you know, do military things, like they complain about it. Like, that really bugs me. Because, like, that's the whole point. You know, like, the reason that the military provides you the benefits that it does is so that when it comes to this point, you're gonna do your job. And so, like, for me, I was like, well, if I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to do my job when the time comes, then I better not. I better not join, because, I mean, the thing is with the military, you know, other jobs, when you fuck up, I mean, it does fall apart with people. In the military, you fuck up, you're going to get someone killed. That may not be yourself. So, if you're not committed, you should not be there. Not when it's a voluntary military, anyway. Now, when it's compulsory military service, well, I guess it really doesn't matter at that point. You gotta be there, so want to doesn't really come to the equation. But in the U.S. military, where it's all volunteer, I don't think you get to say, I want to join the military, and then when it's time to do military work, say, well, actually, it wasn't that serious about it. I don't know, like, killing a person, that's, I mean, you can imagine what it's like all you want, but I don't think you'll ever know what it's like until you've actually done it. If you don't want to find out, then you better not join the military. That's not the worst time. Considering the time I came out of Eastern Palace, it's alright. I mean, I figure it's a lot easier to do it if, you know, somebody's firing at you, like firing back. I figured that's probably not a problem, but... you just pot shotting somebody that doesn't see it coming. That's a little bit different psychology. Oh man, that sucked. Ah, come on guys, you gotta stay above ground. Oh. You guys are really pushing the buttons here. What are you doing? Oh. That's my fault. Could have been at least one cycle faster. Shooting somebody point blank, I don't know, I guess it really depends on the situation. And who it was, and why, you know? It's... like, violence is, violence is a very reason-based thing, more so than people may believe. Like, indiscriminate violence is really pretty rare. Now, you may disagree with the reasons, but for the most part, people aren't violent without some kind of reason. So, yeah, like, you know, like, killing someone and actually watching them die, that's probably pretty hard. Unless you really, really dislike that person. Or you're, you know, used to it. That's one of the things about, like, you know, the gore videos and things like that on the internet. You know, a lot of people kind of hand-wave that kind of stuff, but there is something to the idea that seeing more of that desensitizes you to it. I mean, studies show that for a reason. It's because it does. Like, the more you see something, the more used to it you get. The more used to something you get, the less you think about it. And the less you think about something, the less it bothers you. It's not complicated. Anyway, winnings from World Cup. I don't know, like... It's been a really weird World Cup. Mostly because, like, they Americanized it very heavily. Like, almost all the rule changes made for this World Cup were designed with the American audience in mind. Either that or American advertisers, one of the two. Oh, come on. God. Oh, Jesus. This is... Ugh. Five hits. I don't know, I guess I've got to rethink how I deal with that last rock squirrel when he's moving up and down like that. Like, I've kind of just been trying to sideswipe him with the sword and either that or ignore him. But when he does what he did there, like, he just kind of stun locks me a little bit. And that's the second time I've had that happen in, what, 2 or 3 days now? It wastes a lot of time, and, like, this much damage puts the whole run in danger because all it takes is a couple of things to go wrong that I can't control and I'm dead. And there's a lot of stuff in this dungeon that you can't control. Oh. 250-year-old? Well, on historical standards, America's on its last legs. We'll see, though. Admittedly, it's not moving in a positive direction. I remember being younger, and I don't know if you ever played Chrono Trigger or not, but, you know, like, Chrono Trigger, the setting is the Millennial Fair for the world that you're in. So it's like it's like the year 1000. I remember when I was younger, like, I talked with some of my friends about it, like, and we'd be like, I wonder what's going to happen with, like, the year 2000. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do, like, a millennial fair? And then, like, this 250th anniversary, like, I kind of thought it in the same way. Like, it'd be neat if you could do something, you know, like some kind of big, you know, like fair or event, like year-long event or something like that, or... But, that's just not the mood that Americans are in right now, for any number of reasons that you could cite. So... Oh, my lord. Oh, okay, like, the one going left to right, that's okay. The top to bottom one was bullshit. Come on. The worst part is this guy's still here, and then that guy's gonna fire again. How am I? I'm doing alright. Game's not doing me any favors right now, but yeah. That's how it usually is with this game. So, no surprises there. Come on. Ah! Come on, man. How's all... Stupid. Most of the frames are too long for this boss. Come on, this way. Over here. Thank you. Ah! Ah! It's both my fault and his fault. My fault because I expected him to come in and hit me, so I was pushing back in a direction he didn't come, and that caused me to fall off the back. And it's his fault for not friggin' following up that attack and coming to the wall. That's just what you gotta put up with this. With this game, though. Like, it's already unlucky that he just kind of danced around there, like, not coming towards me. Like, you need him to come towards you, towards the outer edge, for the most part, on that. So that what you do is you face the opposite of whatever. You got to keep your back to the ledge, and then when he runs into you, as long as you are pushing away from the ledge, he won't knock you off if you got your sword stuck out like that. And the bonus is, because your sword is stuck out and his tail always comes where his head was at some point, if his head runs into you there, that it means his tail's going to follow through. So as long as your sword's stuck out, you just get a free hit there, and then that ends the fight. And you can obviously try to chase him around while he's running around, but he moves faster than you do, so you're taking a huge gamble there that, one, you're not going to get hit, and two, when you get hit, you're not going to get knocked off the edge. Like, the fastest way to do it, obviously, is to chase after the tail and try to hit it as soon as you can. That is the optimal time way to do it, but it is also the most foolish way to do it in that fight. So, like, generally the safe way is, like, you kind of got to wait for him to give you something. And I thought he had given it to me there, but, he gave me something else. So. It happens. Ugh. You been playing a lot of Destiny 2? Numbers held up a little bit better than I expected. Like, I thought might die down a bit after, or die down a bit faster after people kind of got through the content, but it's kind of holding on right now. Although Sony's got all kinds of other problems other than Destiny 2 right now. Like, they've really, like, you know, for as bad as Microsoft got it when, you know, all the stuff with the Xbox One happened, and then, make no mistake, Microsoft deserved everything they got back then. Like, what Sony's doing right now is potentially worse. Like, if you just kind of look at the last 2 years as a whole, like, I don't know that I've ever seen a game company managed worse than this, or at least a major one. I mean, you can make an argument for Ubisoft, I guess, but like, I don't know who's advising them or what they think they're doing, but, like, either they're acting like they think that they're in a lot of trouble, or they don't understand their customer base, which is entirely possible because that's a problem across all of game development in the West at the moment. It's either willful ignorance or just a complete lack of understanding of who their audience is. It's really bizarre. But, I mean, it's not unprecedented, though. I mean, you know, you got a lot of people right now saying, like, oh, there's no way these people are going to walk away from Sony. But, you know, people were saying the same thing about Star Wars 10 years ago. And look what happened to that. Well, if I have only one request from Destiny players right now, it's to make sure that Destiny 2 outlives Marathon. You don't have to work too hard to do that. Marathon's going to die soon. It's in trouble. Like, the only thing keeping it, honestly, the only thing that's kind of keeping it alive right now is the fact that if Sony kills this thing after what they've done, like they look really, really, really stupid. And with everything that's going on right now, like that's the last thing they want to do. So they're going to keep this thing alive out of pure stubbornness at this point until whoever their investors are, whoever actually runs the show there, tells them to pull their head out of their ass. But yeah, like if I had one request to Destiny fans, that would be it. It's keep the thing alive longer than Marathon. That's all I ask. I sympathize for the Xbox fan who sees everything that's going on and wants to hold hope. But if you've got hope about Microsoft keeping the Xbox in any kind of condition that's good, you haven't been paying attention for the last 15 years. Honestly, you haven't been paying attention for the last 20, because everything that Microsoft is doing right now is what they always intended to do. Like all the game stuff and things like that, like Asha Sharma is a PR person. So the fact that she looks good saying all this stuff is fine. Like the thing is, like, she hasn't been around long enough to do anything beyond getting rid of people that everybody wanted them to get rid of. So that was an easy win. Like that's like all she's doing right now is she's taking the low-hanging fruit. Actually turning the Xbox into a profitable machine with the price they're trying to sell it at and the games that they have and the corporate environment that they're working in, that is an entirely different story. And all the people getting excited about this are basically ignoring all of that reality. Like, nothing I have thought about Xbox since they got into the game has been wrong. Like, I thought Game Pass, like, everybody loved Game Pass, and you should have loved Game Pass if you were a customer, because they were basically subsidizing your gaming on the hopes that when they raised the price up that you would stick around. But they miscalculated on that. They were thinking that they could get you hooked at a low price and then keep you there with a higher price. And this is the same thing that Netflix has done, Disney Plus has done. Like, every single streaming service has done this. Like, Amazon Prime is another example. Like, all of these subscription services kind of work on the same model, which is hook you in at a low price and then slowly boil the frog. The thing is, like, they jack prices up too high too quick. And everybody kind of realized, you know what, I don't really play this enough for this to be worth it. And so all that money that they spent the first few years subsidizing all these companies to put their games on Game Pass, because the math never made any sense. The math for all of it never made any sense. And like, this is what always bugged me about people like sucking Game Pass's dick, is the math for it never made any sense, because the revenue Microsoft was pulling in from Game Pass subscriptions wasn't enough to cover what would have been the sales of those games had they just been available in a purchasable format and not in a subscription service. They were never going to make that money back. So where were they going to fill the gap? Well, either they were going to have to jack up the price at some point, or they were just going to have to lose money. Neither one of those was going to work out long term. This was obvious if you just sat there and thought about it for a little bit, but everybody just kept going, oh, no, you're just a Game Pass hater or all this other kind of retarded shit. And look where we are now. They're having to cut all these games from it because they were paying money that these games were never going to make back. Because nobody was buying Game Pass for this. Everybody was buying Game Pass for the good games that they were subsequently not buying and basically costing Microsoft money for, like Modern War, like all the Call of Duty games and things like that. Like, Microsoft lost a ton of money because of that. All the sales that they could have potentially had went away. And on top of that, like, your sales numbers look worse. You didn't make your money back. And then the game's dying too. Like, this has been it's a disaster. And so it's like, oh, we lowered the price. Yeah, it's still more expensive than it was, wasn't it? You're still paying more. And the thing is, like, I bet even with that lowered price, they're probably not doing that well. which is why they had to start cutting all the content. I mean, if you look at what's on Game Pass like now, like, why are you buying Game Pass? Seriously. And like, that was the other problem with Game Pass too, is like, once you made all the content available for people to kind of try and go through, and like, this is the problem that the Netflix services and things ran into. Like, people will burn through that content quicker than you can imagine. And once they're done with it, like the amount of content that you have to keep putting on there on like a weekly or monthly basis to entice people to stick around, like, you can't afford it. You can't even begin to afford it. Like, they don't, like, what I think a lot of these companies didn't realize is, they should have realized this, is most people don't play games to completion, which means they're only going to play a game for a few hours, and then they're going to say, like, yeah, that was fun, but I don't really care anymore. Or like, I didn't like this, I'm never playing this again. Or maybe they play it for a little while. But like, the people that stick around and play longer than that, all you have to do is look at like achievement trophy stats. Like, the people that play a game from start to finish is the minority. In a lot of cases, it's the vast minority. So when you think about it in terms of like how fast people can burn through content on your service like that, like, you've got to have a mountain of content to keep those people entertained long term if you want to keep them around on there. And once they've already gone through content that they would have normally had to pay $70 or $80 for each one, like, they've gone through 4 games that would have cost them close to $300, and they've done that in 3 months and paid you only like, what, 60? Where are you making up that gap? And the answer is you don't, unless you're just praying that these people decide to stick around without playing anything. And when the price is low, you can maybe get them to do that. But when you jack up the price like they did, oh yeah, people are going to bail in droves. And that's exactly what happened. So now they're stuck with, like, Game Pass killed all their sales. So like, they have no mind space in store shelves anymore. Because nobody was buying things physically in store anymore, because why would you when you got Game Pass? But at the same time, like, because their machine's so close to a PC, okay, well, if everything's an Xbox, then nothing's an Xbox. Like, why do I need an Xbox? Like, this was the other campaign that they did that was stupid. And this is why they find themselves in the position there is right now. It's like, nobody understands why they should own an Xbox. And this is where Sony is currently trying to put themselves in the same position as when Sony gets rid of physical discs and their exclusives aren't that great. And that's the same problem Microsoft's got. Is like, their exclusives really aren't that great because they put all their games on everywhere. So then, like, again, what's the point? It is mind-boggling to me, like, how simple this was, and yet everybody just either ignored it or couldn't see it. And I think, like, part of the problem is that too many people in the game industry are not game consumers. So they don't understand how people purchase games, how people play games. And if you don't understand that, you're going to make bad decisions based off the data you've got, because you don't actually understand the data they have. Just because you got a number in front of you doesn't mean that you understand what that number means. What is behind the number? Like, that is the important part. And like, the game industry doesn't understand anything behind their numbers anymore. All they understand is like, I've got this number here. Well, in normal circumstances, this is what you do with this number. So they treat the game industry like any other industry, and then they keep screwing it up. Like, it's the same thing you see going on with comic books, Hollywood, all these other industries that have basically blown their own face off because they don't understand their audience. They're run by people who don't understand the medium. This is why you don't hire general business people to run a niche industry, a very narrow consumer market. Like, gamers are a very specific type of people. If you don't have people that understand them in positions of power, you're going to make bad decisions because you don't understand your customer. this is the kinds of things that you would think they teach in business school these days, but the thing is, like, they probably don't anymore. Now it's all about data analysis. But data analysis doesn't mean jack shit if you don't understand if you don't understand what's going on behind the numbers. That's the thing, like, the PC technically still has physical games if you want to burn it to disk yourself. Like, anything you buy from GOG, you can burn to a disk and play it wherever you want. That you can put on a disk, or you can put it on a memory card, or things like that. Like, there are ways to take Steam games and put them on physical media and have them be, you know, usable in that format as well. They're just not... Well, the thing is, like, there are some games actually that you can buy some physical media for that are sold for the PC. Those things do exist. They're very niche. They're very narrow market, but they do exist. And, you know, that's kind of what some people are trying to tell Sony right now is like, you know, you can talk all down about how physical media maybe costs you money or you don't make as much money off of it, but, you know, physical media exists for music and movies too, and like they had much more of a reason to move away from it earlier than games did, and yet they still have it. So why is that? And it's because people that buy those things buy those things for a reason. So, like, just like cutting off that market, like, that doesn't make any fiscal sense at all, especially when you're the one that controls the medium. Like, it's not like Microsoft, where Microsoft doesn't actually control any of the, you know, disk mediums or anything like that. They got to license all that stuff out. They got to pay money for that stuff. Sony controls most of this stuff. And if you're smart, you can turn that into a market that's actually profitable for you. But instead, they're acting like, oh no, that market doesn't matter, we're just going to get rid of it. Thinking that, well, those people, they'll buy whatever we put out there. And no, that's not the case. Like, this is again, like, because you've got business people that don't understand the customers they're dealing with. Like, the kinds of people that collect things, the kinds of people that spend money on something that other people don't normally spend money on, like, those are the more passionate and more vociferous consumers. Like, now I've said it before, like, your biggest fans are generally the people that end up being your biggest enemies at some point. And Sony is taking a lot of their biggest fans and turning them into eternal enemies. Because there's going to be a lot of people that will never, ever, 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 ever forgive them for this, no matter what they do. And, like, a lot of those people spend a lot of money. Like, I mean, you guys probably already have an idea, but, like, you should see, like, some of the people in Japan that, like, when they're a fan of something, like, the amount of money that they spend on it, like the idol culture stuff, or, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, that is all they will spend money on. Like, those are your whales, and, like, those people are not the majority of your audience. They're a very small, concentrated part of your audience. It's the Pareto principle at work here. Like, you've got a small percentage of people that account for a very outsized percentage of revenue. Like, those are the people that you generally want to protect and not piss off. But when you're a business person and you don't understand anything about the industry that you're running, these are the kinds of decisions you make. Which is part of the reason why like, part of me thinks, like, this needs to happen because I want all these people gone. Like, I am willing to deal with games at this level, Super Nintendo level, for a decade. If it means that this industry regains some common sense. Like, the people that run Sony now are very different than the people that ran Sony 10 years ago. And the people that work on almost all of the major game companies you can think of are very different than the people that were there 10 years ago. And this current crop, because of the amount of money that has gotten into the industry, most of them aren't there because they care about games. Maybe most is saying a lot, but let's just say a very large portion of them are not there because they care about games. They're either because they care about money, they care about the status, or they just think it's an easy job. Or some of them, they just got there's weird ideological purpose behind it. All those people need to go. I think it's what, the one in the US, the top 1% of earners pay somewhere between 40 and 50% of all income taxes. And when you look at mobile games, like this is not a big secret of mobile games. Probably like the top 2% of users account for well over 50% of the revenue on mobile games, I would imagine. Like, you should see how much people have spent on Diablo 4. Like, individuals. There are literally people who've spent probably $1 million on Diablo 4. That is how crazy that game is. And there are, in the US, a lot of people with a lot of money with how much better things to spend it on. I mean, it boggles my mind how much Japanese people spend on these mobile games. And when I say that, I don't mean like as a whole. I'm talking about at the individual level, like how much one person will spend on a mobile game. And I just can't even fathom it. Like there's a bunch of people that will spend like every single bit of their excess money on that game. If they have money to burn, like they will spend it on that game in one fashion or another. Like you will see this, like Gundam is like a place where you will see this a lot. And the people that love Gundam, man, they love Gundam. Yeah, like I knew a guy like that. Not knew, like I know a guy like that. Like, it wouldn't even be the end of the month and he would have already spent his whole paycheck on Gundam stuff. So he'd be eating ramen noodles for the rest of the month. Idolmaster is huge in terms of like how much money people will spend on that. I think Uma Musume cleans up pretty well. Like there's other ones as well. Like that, the boats game. I don't know what they called it in English, but you know, Kankore. Kantai Collection. Like that game, like man, people spent a lot of money on that at the time. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's what really shocked me, is I figured like it was all guys spending money on these games. But like with Idolmaster and that kind of stuff, man, the women are worse than the guys in a lot of cases. Like I couldn't believe how much money some of these women spend on these games. Like, it broke my mind how much money these women were spending. You know, I figured it was mostly a male problem, but then, you know, like, you know, I mean, maybe you guys are somewhat aware of this, but you know about, like, host culture over here, where you've got, like, the cabaret clubs, you know, where, like, guys go and, you know, like, you spend money to spend time with this woman. And then, like, you buy drinks and all this other stuff, and then you pay an exorbitant amount of money at the end of the night. And then depending on however that person feels about it, like, maybe they go with you somewhere afterwards, or maybe not. Like, I mean, like, that's a whole different thing, but, you know, I just figured it was guys that did that, but, like, the women, what's even crazier is, like, the women that work at those clubs, like, they will then take all the money that they make and go to the male version of that and spend all of that money. Like, that is not uncommon at all. Like, I mean, it's you'll see it a lot on the news here. Like, you'll find, like, a woman will end up in trouble over money for some reason, one or another, and, like, a lot of times you'll find the reason is because she got into debt, like, going to those clubs. Spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Like, the host and hostess clubs, you know, like, they're kind of loosely associated with each other because most of them tend to be run by, you know, less than reputable organizations. Maybe I shouldn't say most, but I'll say a lot. But a lot of people in that industry have ties to what are now illegal organizations within Japan. Whether direct or indirect. So there's a lot of, you know, tie-up in between it. So in that sense, it's not necessarily surprising, but I don't know, I just figured that if you were a woman that worked in the industry and understood how it worked, you would be smarter than to then turn around and allow yourself to get caught in the exact same trap. You know? Honestly, I don't think it's the difficulty of finding someone, necessarily. I mean, if we're going to have a serious conversation about it, like, you have to bring hypergamy into it, and the nature of modern dating has kind of really broken the expectations of a lot of people, and I think women especially have kind of been affected by this, to where the kinds of people that they can match up with on a dating app that are willing to go out with them for, you know, purely physical reasons, but aren't looking for a long-term relationship, are skewing their outlook on the kind of guy that they can actually get long-term. And for guys, like, because they meet so much rejection as a result of these outsized expectations, like, guys give up. And then girls get taken advantage of until they reach the point where they kind of get aged out of the market, so to speak. And by that point, the guys don't want to put up with it anymore, and women's expectations for what they think they can get are no longer realistic, so you've got a bunch of people who don't want each other, honestly. So then you go to places like that where you can spend time talking to somebody that, well, if we're being honest, is probably not in your league. And the psychological euphoria of that, like, gets people hooked. And, you know, it's the same thing with, like, you know, idol culture over here and all the other stuff, like, and you're seeing the same thing starting to happen in the West as well. People like the idea of having a relationship more than they actually like having a relationship. Because relationships are actually hard, and people don't actually, you know, get along all that well that easily. And when you're dealing with the opposite sex, like, it's actually especially hard because men and women are fundamentally different. So when you add all those things together, you end up with the situation you've got now, where people feel like they've got options to where they don't have to put up with the opposite sex, so they don't. It's really just that simple. And, like, this is also where, you know, like, things like welfare and stuff come into play, because the thing is, like, most people also realize that, well, if I don't get married, the government will take care of me when I'm older. You know, like, I don't need a family to take care of me, so they don't bother to make one. Remember the other day when I was saying that everything's easy to understand when you think from terms of, you know, motivation and incentives? Well, this is a perfect example of that. People aren't getting in relationships because there's no motivation and no incentive. Struggling a little bit today with that fight. Now, to be fair, I don't feel like I'm really doing anything too wrong. I mean, my arrow shooting could maybe be a little bit better, but I'm not really getting very good patterns today. You're kind of jumping in the ground a little bit too quickly, or they're not jumping in a direction that is conducive to me being able to shoot them very easily. But really, the worst thing that can happen is, like, when two of them come out of the ground at almost the same time. And depending on, like, the position they're in relative to each other, that can make it kind of hard to get in the shots I need to. Because if you want to 3 or 4 cycle it, you need to be able to hit, like, multiple per attempt. Like, you can't just, like, only hit one worm. You got to be able to hit, like, 2 worms. And when there's 3 worms, like, you absolutely have to be able to hit 2 of them. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's impossible. because there's probably people better than me that can pull it off, but I'm not quite that good. Not yet. Need the game to play ball a little bit sometimes. Like, I understand the too expensive argument that people make, but the thing is, like, if you look at the past, it's always been too expensive to have a kid. Like, you know, my grandmother and her family, you know, my grandmother in the US, like, she had 10 siblings. There's no way it wasn't too expensive to have 10 kids, but they did. Like, it kind of feels like cart before the horse in some ways, but when it comes to survival and things like that, you're motivated to do what you need to do to survive. And if you don't need to have kids to survive, and you don't need to make money to support the family that you have, well, where's the motivation in modern society? And like, I think that's why people say it's too expensive to have a kid. This isn't me saying that it's not very expensive to have a kid. It actually is very expensive to have a kid. But, you know, poor people manage it all the time. All over the world. Now you can... Ah! I thought he was gonna fly farther. No, him turning into a rock in front of that staircase like that, that's a 15-second penalty. Minimum. And like, that's... It's close to run killing. Like, later in the run, if I've got something good, like, I wouldn't quit over that mistake. Unless, like, say it was in the last third of the run and I'm barely ahead or barely behind. A mistake like that is gonna really put me in a bad spot where, like, maybe if something really works out, I can kind of recover. But it's, like, it's close to a run killer. Early on, I mean, I still don't know what I'm going to get on a Ganem or, you know, the treasure box or shovel game, but like, that kind of mistake, like, when I'm already behind by, like, 5 seconds or so, like, that puts me 20 behind. So, like, even if I get good luck, all it's doing is kind of just pulling me dead even. So it's like, those kinds of mistakes are, like, the run's starting to get tight to the point where, like, that kind of mistake is a little bit harder to just kind of let go now. Especially when I'm already behind. Because, like, those things, when they turn into a rock, like, they are a rock for a surprisingly long time. I'm actually kind of shocked by how long they stay frozen. Oh, no, 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 no. Everybody's got things to do, you know? Oh, that's just really slow. Like in the US now, I'd say child trapping is a very different thing than it used to be in the past. Like in the past, like when you referred to child trapping, it was, you know, the idea that you'd have a kid to get the man to stick around. Like these days, it's less so that than you have a kid to get the man to give you money for the rest of his life. In the US. Oh, no, like that is a very complicated problem. Because now you're talking about legislation and the legal system and all kinds of other things that it's not as easy to break down into smaller motivations. Like there's motivations all over the place that have led to that situation. All right. Well, to be honest, like I'm happy to hear that people are busy because of work and not other things. Oh man, like you don't know how tired I am of. You don't know how tired I am of these women that have like 4 kids with 3 different fathers. You know, that used to be the exception. Make no mistake, I'm no less tired of them than I am the guys that have 10 kids with 9 different women. Hey, maybe she works at a pharmacy. Or maybe she just sells coffee. You know, it's funny. Like today is actually an example of this, but you know, every now and then I run out of Coke Zero, and then like because I do most of my shopping at the same time because I don't like having to go out multiple times. So like sometimes I'll have to like wait a day. Like I'll be a day without any in the house or something like that. And so like when I find a lot of times when that happens, like I'll have a headache on the second day, and I always wonder whether it's because of caffeine or if it's because I'm not drinking enough, because I'm just so used to drinking Coke that I don't really drink enough. Yeah, like I think it could be caffeine withdrawal, but like the headaches are also very similar to the same kind of headaches I get when I'm dehydrated. So it's kind of a tough call. Like I don't know which it is. Could be a little bit of both. Man, jump. Dude, what are you doing? Yeah, like allergies like that are kind of weird. Like I don't understand the science behind it exactly. I just, yes, you know, they claim that a lot of the reason that people have peanut allergies now is because they get exposed to it when they're younger, because baby products like included like peanut oil or things like that. And I don't know how much I believe that, but it seems as plausible as anything when people didn't have peanut allergies in the past that much. But one of the other things that's a possibility too is in the past, people who had peanut allergies just died when they were young and nobody understood what it was. If you can get by without caffeine, it's probably best to get by without caffeine. But, I mean, there is something to be said for the fact that some people do actually perform a lot better on like, you know, caffeine and stimulants. I mean, they are a form of performance enhancer. That's why baseball banned what they used to call greenies. Oh yeah. I mean, over-reliance on anything, especially when related to the human body, is usually a bad thing, because if I take, for example, testosterone. Like, one of the things your body learns to do is that if it's getting something from an outside source, it stops making it on its own. And it's the same. This is basically the mechanism behind, I forget which type. It's either, I want to say it's type 2 diabetes, so the one that you develop through dietary habits, not the one that, you know, is more hereditary. I forget which one is which. You know, you eat so much sugar that your body stops naturally regulating the process for dealing with it. You know, that may not be the exact mechanism, but that's the general idea. Okay, it is type 2, yeah. I was pretty sure type 1 was the hereditary one. Or more naturally occurring one, I guess. Oh. Well, that was a shit room. Whew. Oh man, come on. Stonewalled at Tower Hera today. Alright. Alright, missing the jar throw. That just happens every now and then. Like, that's pretty fine movement there to not have to, you know, completely stop face downward to throw that jar and then keep moving to the right. But the first part where I didn't pick up the jar, I don't actually know what happened there. Not really sure why it didn't pick up the jar. It's not like I didn't hit the button to pick it up. It just didn't do it. And the thing is, like, I hit the button more than once, too, was what really got me. I would like to get to the Dark World, at least once. Pretty please. Like, I forgot if I don't remember if I said it or not, but you know, that stupid rat that blocked the entrance to the Tower of Hera. I thought I was going to knock him past the staircase. I really did. I thought I was going to knock him past the staircase, so I was like, oh, I'll be alright. Man, did I guess wrong on that. Like, I really thought he was going to fly a lot further than he did. Said he, like, barely moved at all. Oh. Maybe I didn't hit him square. Maybe he was actually moving up and to the right. Not like right. That would kind of explain it. Not been doing a good job with the ball and chain knight today. This is why the last few days have kind of been a little bit disappointing, because like all the peripheral stuff, well, maybe not peripheral, but like all the stuff like within my control was mostly pretty good the last few days. You know, it's just like RNG didn't work out, or I did something really stupid. So when you're playing like that, you kind of want to get a run in there somewhere, because every now and then, or you get a day like this where I'm not really getting good results today. Like Eastern Palace hasn't been very good. The Desert Palace hasn't been very good. I haven't been able to get through the Tower of Hera. This is gonna be another stinker. Yep. It's gonna be like 6 minutes in the cathedral. It's not working out today. Ooh, there you go. No, it's not that. It's just I think it's just one of those days. You know, sometimes you're... I don't know, if you played sports a lot, you know, sometimes you have good days and sometimes you just don't have a good day. For whatever reason. Like, you just don't feel right, or, you know, like... something's just, you know, something about something you're doing is just a little bit off of where it needs to be, and it's affecting everything. Like with a game like this, like all it takes for me to have an off day is like my reaction time to be, you know, like 0.05 of a second slower than it usually is. And that's going to cause me to run into walls more often, or my lines to be bad, or me to miss sword swings, and, you know, like that kind of thing. It can just be something as simple as that. Sometimes it's because something I was kind of doing, you know, subconsciously, instinctively, like I forget how to do. And it can be any number of things. Sometimes maybe it's my arm's tired, so my mashing is a lot slower than it usually is. Sometimes I got like a headache or something, so the concentration's off. Like, it could be any number of things. Doesn't take much to throw you off, especially when you need like a really good reaction time to everything. That's why speedrunners try to script as much as they possibly can, so you don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to, you know, rely on things that are out of your control. Kind of insulates you against days like this. But, you know, no matter how much you do that, like, you're still gonna have problems like this. Like, you're gonna have your good days and your bad days. Today just maybe isn't a good day. But, you know, I've had that before, and then all of a sudden a good run shows up. You never know. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Made sure I got it that time. You know, like, a lot of psychologists and, you know, like, people that work in statistics, like, they'll tell you all it is just randomness and stuff like that, but it's not. Like, I mean, maybe it's randomness in terms of, you know, the condition your body is on that day, but you know, like, there's no such thing as a shooter with a hot hand or anything like that. And I don't think that's true. I think like randomness obviously gets into it to an extent, but sometimes you kind of understand what your body's doing. Like you feel like you've got a grasp of what your body's doing and you're in better control of it than you normally are. And then sometimes you don't. And like that kind of gap in understanding is the exact same kind of gap that leads to Sony deciding to get rid of physical discs when probably a lot of their biggest spenders are people that buy physical discs. I mean, sometimes I think it's as simple as just like confidence in terms of, you know, like, why is somebody performing better now than they normally do? Like, maybe they just feel more confident today. Confidence goes a long way towards success and failure. Should have got the arrows. Whatever. Oh, damn it. Uh-oh, I'm screwed. Am I wrong, or did one of those guys take 4 arrows? I could have swore one of them I shot twice, and then I had to shoot him 2 more times. Oh, did I miss twice? Well, if I missed twice, I should have had 2 arrows left at the end, though, on that last one. Because that would have had me down to 17. I could have swore I shot one of them 4 times. So I think it was either the 3rd one or the 4th one, like I missed like the first shot and then hit a couple, and then I killed the next one, then I went back to kill it, and then it took 2. I think is what happened. Here's the thing with like shaming Sony, like I don't think shaming Sony's gonna work because and like they're kind of like, this is kind of, you're starting to see this coming out in the articles that they've been talking to people at the company about what's going on, and it seems like they just seem to think that their customers are just gonna sit there, take it, and like it. Like, I think the only way they're gonna learn this time is like they're gonna actually have to just see this mistake through to the end. And what point that's going to be, I don't know, but I don't think they're going to realize how badly they've messed up until they see the PS3 or the PS6 sales projections. I think when it gets to that point, they're going to realize how much trouble they're in. I mean, because, again, like, all you have to do is look at the Destiny situation and the Marathon situation to realize, like, this is not a company that's working entirely all within their logical faculties with how they're making decisions right now. Like, nothing about the decisions they've made regarding Marathon and Destiny make any sense anymore. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like the people who are complaining, like, eventually, you know what, you got to put your money where your mouth is. Like, if you don't want them to do this to you, you're going to have to show them that you're not going to put up with it. And from Sony's perspective, you know, there is a limit to how much people will put up with, and you don't want to find out, because once you find out, like, it's probably too late to pull it back. Like, you've probably done permanent damage to yourself at that point. I mean, like, Sony still is dealing with blowback from everything that happened with the PS3 when the network went down, other OS getting taken away, the other network hack that they had. Like, they are still dealing with blowback from that. Almost 2 decades later. Like, nobody ever forgave Microsoft for the Xbox One stuff either. I mean, that's the thing, like, when people have a viable alternative to you, once they move to that viable alternative, like, they're pretty much not coming back. Like, that's why live service games are having so much trouble right now. It's because they're trying to take people out of an ecosystem that they've already invested a lot of time and money in. And all the incentives in the world are probably not going to get people to do that. Like, the only way those people are going to move for the most part is, like, the ecosystem they're in is going to have to drive them away. And Sony is currently making that mistake in boatloads at the moment, which is why it's so bizarre. Especially when they're talking about, you know, like, wanting to do so much of a live service. Like, they're making the one mistake you can't make as a live service as a live service provider. You can't drive your customers away, because if you drive them away, you're not getting them back. I think part of the reason, like, you see so many Asian live service games doing better is because of how, like, that culture has been over here with, like, idol culture and all that other stuff. Like, they understand that market better than the US and Europe do. Like, whenever you see, like, live services that have been around for a while, like, make huge games, it's usually not because of anything they did in particular. It's usually because somebody else screwed up and everybody tried to find somewhere to go. Like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft. You know, like, Final Fantasy XIV kind of had that huge renaissance where, you know, like, they had the free-to-play time, but, like, part of the reason that they got so much traction with that was because World of Warcraft at the time was, you know, just working, you know, as hard as they could to drive away their player base. You know, they never really got those people back. You know, Asmongold is one of those people. Like, never forget what the word fan is derived from. Never, ever, ever forget what the word fan is derived from. You know, kind of related to this subject, but I think it bears mentioning because just to be fair to Sony on some of the things that have kind of come up surrounding this, you know, all the talk about like licensing and like people not owning the rights to their game even if they have a physical copy of this. Like, one of the important things to remember about that is the games where that's the case, like, that's more or less not Sony's decision. Like, that's actually the decision of the people that made the game and published the game. Now, you can, of course, say that Sony could always put a rule in place that doesn't allow them to do this, and you're absolutely right about that. They should have done that, but I also understand why they didn't, because a lot of the companies that were trying to do that were some of the bigger publishers, like Ubisoft and things like that. They didn't want to lose access to those games, especially when they were in the middle of a console war. You can say that's not a good excuse, fair enough, but that is what was going on. Like it or not. But Sony's not the one, you know, like telling people to, you know, make their game so that it can be turned off or that it requires a internet connection to work or anything like that. You know, that's entirely on the people that are developing and publishing the game to make that decision. So, you know, it's worth mentioning that that is the case because, yeah, this is screwed. Damn it. Really not my day. Like, Square Enix is a culprit with this. Like, honestly, anybody that's releasing those game key cards on the Nintendo Switch too, you're guilty of this. Like, if you're gonna release the game key card, just release the game on the disc or on the card. Like, seriously, like, game key cards, like, I don't consider those a happy medium. I consider those an insult. I mean, like, for me, like, if those people didn't want to give out, you know, copies of their games, then Nintendo should just tell them, okay, well, just sell digital copies then. Like, either put it on the card as is, or just sell a digital copy. Like, none of this half-assed crap. Because now if you're the consumer, like, when you buy the thing and it's got a box, now you've got to ask yourself, well, is this a digital key card? Is the game on the disc or not? And to be fair, in some ways, like, a digital key card actually makes it more transparent, because now you at least know that they're not willing to actually give you the game on a card. I mean, you can make that argument, but at the same time, like, the games on the regular cartridges may also still require, you know, internet connections or downloads to work. My understanding, like, just because they're on one of those doesn't mean that they will necessarily work with the card alone, I think. That may not be the case, but that is my understanding. So instead of having 3 situations, now you've got 4. You have a card that may or may not have the game in a workable form on it. You got a card that is nothing more than a download key. And you got just straight downloads. 1, 2, 3, 4. You just complicated the market for little to no gain. Which is why I think people have kind of been so critical of those game key cards. Because it really didn't solve a problem. Like, it's a condescending solution. It's the equivalent of, you know, like your little brother wants to play games while you're playing, so you hand him a controller that's not plugged into anything. It's kind of like that. You know, oh, if I just give him the controller, he'll shut up. Like, that's, you know, like, some people have been mentioning the idea of, you know, somehow making so you can transfer your physical games to a digital library, and then those physical games won't be, you know, usable outside, you know, apart from that console or something like that. All I hear from that is, okay, you're going to change your physical game into a digital game. Like, how is that helping me? Like, that's the opposite of what I want. All you're just telling me is, well, you're just not going to make me pay for it. Actually, you are going to make me pay for it, because you're going to make me buy whatever hardware is necessary to do it. This doesn't really sound like a solution. I mean, if the game will still work, like, say if a PS5 disc could be transferred to a digital copy on the PS6, but still be playable on the PS5 as is, well, then I'm not losing anything. Then I'm getting something from it, and at least it's, you know, somewhat of a positive. It's not nearly what I would want. I wouldn't actually find that an acceptable solution myself, but if you're talking about, like, I have to sacrifice the disc to get a playable copy on the PS6, yeah, that's a no deal there. Who are you kidding? Like, it makes sense under the second scenario that I just listed. The first scenario, though, it doesn't make any sense. Like, all you're literally doing is you're basically exchanging a physical for a digital copy, and that's the exactly what these people are fighting against. Like, I'll be honest with you, too. Like, the backwards compatibility thing is a real issue for them. Like, if only digital copies are backwards compatible, like you really are basically telling all of the people that have been buying physical discs up until now that we don't give a shit about you. And that is a big mistake. Because there's no such thing as a customer that buys only physical and nothing digital. I mean, maybe there are, but like those people are extremely rare. I mean, I'm about as heavy of as a physical consumer as you're going to find, and I still buy some stuff digital because, like, I'm not going to rebuy the full version of a game to get the downloadable contents for it. You know, like, for example, you know, Shadow of the Erd Tree or something like that. Like, that's just a waste of money. You know, if I really want to preserve that DLC data, I can just put it on a disc somewhere and keep it there. Like, I don't need to have 2 discs for the same game. I forget what was necessary to make that work. Like, that wasn't quite as simple as that, because those discs, like the PlayStation 1 discs were proprietary. Like, there was something special. They were actually a little bit bigger than a normal CD, I believe. Was part of the problem. Like, there was something proprietary about them where, like, you could potentially burn it to a normal CD, but there's something you had to do. I forget what it was. Because the PS1 could read normal CDs. Like, you could use it as a CD player. Like, a lot of people didn't even realize that because, well, why would you use it as a CD player? You know, like, most people already had a CD player. And, like, a CD player hooked to your TV wasn't necessarily the most convenient thing unless maybe you were trying to use the sound system hooked to your TV, in which case, okay, maybe. But, you know, that was not exactly a selling point of the PlayStation 1. I forget what it was. Now, the Dreamcast, though, the Dreamcast, you could just straight up burn a game to a whatever kind of disc it was that worked on it, and it would just play. Oh. Took too much damage on the way in, and then that did not work out. That was just unlucky. Somewhat. Like, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell which direction you're going to knock in when you go for that first damage boost there. And if it sends you in a horizontal direction where you don't get caught on the stairs, like, you end up too far away to get back in time to pick up the jar and then hit the button. And that's what happened there. Yeah, I can't remember what the deal was with the PS1 game discs. Like, there was something special about them. I can't remember whether it was the amount of data they held, whether they had, like, dead sectors in them or something like that. There's something about it that made them unique from regular CDs. PS2 CD games were the same way. Although those were purple, I believe. How many people own a purple PS2 disc? Probably not very many. I have like 1 or 2, I think. From the very, very beginning of the PS2, where some games were still small enough to be sold on a CD. Because DVDs were a little bit more expensive back then. So there was money to be saved by doing that. Alright. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming by. Hope everything goes well with your studies. Oof. Oh, okay, yeah, so you had one then. It's purple because that was just, like, the way they made those proprietary discs for the PS2. You know, because remember, like, the PS1s were black, and I think it was just to distinguish. So the people didn't get confused. Yep, those were CD-ROMs for the PS2, purple discs. There are not very many of them. I say purple, I guess they're like a bluish purple. Like, I haven't seen them in so long now, I can't remember the exact color. I mean, they weren't like, you know, like Prince Royal purple or anything like that. It was somewhere in between, like, blue and purple, I think. I don't know. I just wish Sony would get back to being innovative with their consoles again. Because at the end of the day, like, it sounds like what they're making the PS6 is just a... It's a Nintendo Switch with better graphical hardware, but none of the things that make the Switch unique to you know, a computer. So it's like somewhere between a Switch and a PlayStation as a handheld. Or I guess you could say like a Switch and a Vita. Or a Switch and the, whatever that PlayStation handheld thing they've got right now is called. I can't remember what it's called anymore. Oh, Lord. Oh, come on. Man. Sometimes it just ain't your day. Alright. What are the odds I die before I make it out of here? I'm saying better than 50%. Wow, that rat almost got me. I'm actually surprised I reacted fast enough to him hitting the brakes there. Most of the time that would have killed me. Like, it was kind of like, you know, like you can see the background of the screen I've got here. Like that kind of, you know, Starry Night sky. It's somewhere in there, you know? The color. Alright, have a good day, man. Thanks for stopping in. Hopefully I can get this run anywhere. Alright, so far so good on this one. Hopefully we can make this work. Come on! Happened again. Pick up the jar. Such an odd error. I don't know. I'm hitting the button too early. Like, you have to be right up next to it to be able to pick it up. I don't know, maybe I'm just like a pixel early or something. That worked out. Good pattern, please. Oh, at least it's workable. I'd say that was a good pattern, but it was a workable pattern. Ah, dingy. That's better. Could have been like a 106 if I'd gotten an arrow drop. Oh, come on. All right. Got something going here. Something. Better than nothing. You're very generous on the rupees on this one. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Oh, come on. A rare double hit. $29. All right, not too bad. Oh, suckered me. That's good. Ah. Alright. That's better. Fine. Okay. That's better. Okay, 1917. Throw the rock, please. Throw the rock. One, two, three, four. All right, how about a nice trip up the mountain? How about that? Huh? How about you guys play nice? How about you stop doing that? Oh, Lord, that was almost bad. Oh, ask and ye shall receive, folks. Alright. Please let me get through Tower of Hera once today. Pretty please. Tired of getting my shit wrecked by Moldorm. Alright. Ugh. Whoops. Weird way to lose 2 seconds. How long has my mic been muted? Or was it muted? Almost forgot what I was doing there for a second. Alright. Have I been muted since Tower of Hero? Probably didn't even need to pick up that one. Could have just let that go, probably. $360's more than enough usually, if the run's any good. Alright, realistically, this has got to be a 1. Maybe a 2. Anything more than that, like, I don't think I can make up the gap. Even with a God run. No, it's not a 1. What's it gonna be? Not a 2. Uh-oh. Treasure box game here to finish me off. Looks like it. Yep, this is over. Sadly. Yep. Yep. Okay, I don't need more arrows. If you're gonna give me something, at least give me rupees. There you go. See, I forgot to tell the game what to do. I have to tell the game what to do, and then maybe it'll do it. Like if I just kind of, you know, blindly talk to myself. Yep, it's over. Oh yeah, 2 minutes. That's it. I can't make up 2 minutes. Like there is not a current me that exists that can make up 2 minutes in the remaining dungeons. Sorry, folks. It's over. That's how it goes. Well, if nothing else, see, I am capable of getting to the shovel game with over a minute of cushion. It can happen. Just need RNG to work out for me. But, that's how it goes. That is the 100% run of this game, is you get here and you pray that the game gives you something. 1-1, 1-2, 2-1. 2-1, honestly, anything with 2 is pretty rough. Like, you gotta be coming in with a cushion like this. Otherwise, 2's rough. But that's what happens when you don't get that. Like, that was what, a 3 and a 5? 3 and a 5 cost me 3 minutes. And 3 minutes is fatal at this point, so. That's about all I can say. Anyway, at least I got here. At least I got here. Like, I was really struggling with that for most of the first half, but we got here. It didn't work out, which is what happens. So, you know, if I'd gotten the Ganem today with the 1-1 from yesterday, like, we'd have been, what, like a minute and a half up right now. But, actually, we'd already be done with Thieves Town at this point. But, you know, that's just how it goes with this game. You just gotta live with the good and bad of it. If you're gonna do the 100% category, the 90% category cuts out those 2 games, so they're really only dealing with, like, a Ganon in terms of RNG. Like the ugliest RNG, where you can really kind of get screwed. But everything else, I mean, there's some RNG, but the fluctuations aren't nearly as big as it is with this. But that's also why I like this category too. So, you never know what you're gonna get. Alright, so, I guess I have to think about whether I'm gonna do this tomorrow or not. Like, Grand Blue Fantasy Relinks extra content came out, and I thought I was going to finish everything with the base game yesterday and move on to the new content, but I have to finish everything with the base game before I can play the new content, apparently. So there was a lot more to do than I thought there was, and I got through most of it yesterday, but I think it's going to take most of today to get through the rest, because, like, actually what's left is all the hardest stuff too. Like, I've kind of been breezing through everything. It hasn't been that bad, but I could see it getting a little bit more challenging towards the end. So, a rough estimate is I'll finish it latest today, or by the end of the day today. Like, that's the goal, is to finish it today at the very least, and then start with the new stuff from tomorrow at the latest. Maybe tonight. I don't know. I'll see how late it is and how things are going, and then kind of make a decision on that. But I may just play that tomorrow. I'm not sure. But if not, I will be doing this again tomorrow. Whenever I do this on the weekends, I tend to try to make a bigger time slot so that I can absolutely get at least one run that makes it this far. And if possible, get a run that makes it past this. Like, that's out of my control, but I don't know, sometimes I'll continue doing it just because I need to play the second half of the game every now and then, otherwise I'll forget how to do it. So, sometimes I do continue a dead run, but that's not too often. But that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, and so this will be the end of this stream, and then I'll try to start up the next one about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. So 9:15, somewhere in there. So if you're interested in that, by all means. If you don't know what Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is, so Grand Blue Fantasy is like an online like phone game, smartphone game. Started out as that, made by a Japanese company, Cygames, very popular. They made this game as this is like their first major like kind of console style game like this. They didn't really know how it was going to go. It went a lot better than it did. So the game is more or less kind of it's a mix of Tales gameplay and Monster Hunter anime style. So just kind of picture that and you'll get a good idea of it. The story is take it or leave it stuff. Like it's there. It's not really it's like the story in a Monster Hunter game before Wilds. It's there. It's not really in the way. You don't have to pay too much attention to it to enjoy the game. But if you do pay attention to it, it's not that bad. It's definitely not anything that hasn't been done before, but it's not like the Adventures of Elliot where like they're just talking forever and you want them to shut up. Okay, it's not like that. It's very simple. They get to the point. They don't drag it out, and if you like it, like there's all kinds of lore and stuff in the notes and things that you can go through, and then you can obviously just play the smartphone game too. But gameplay wise, like it's very well made. It's a solid 8. Some people might give it a 9. Other people might give it a 7, but I think I think like this is just a solid 8. Like it plays really well. It does what it wants to do. It knows what it's trying to be, and it's good at it. It's not a 10. Like a lot of things would have to be better for it to be a 10, but like the stuff that came out with the update too, like it improved a lot of the quality of life stuff with the game. That has made it a lot easier to play than it was. And if you've got like 2, 3, 4 people that you like to play with, or maybe not 4, like because you can only have up to 4 people. So if you got like 2 or 3 people that you like to play with, or even one person you like to play with, this is a good game for that. Because the CPU is competent, so the CPU doesn't get in the way. Like you're always going to have 4 characters more or less when you go out, but the CPU is actually pretty helpful in this. So like if you want to play solo, it's good, but if you want to play with your friends, like you can still take the CPU with you. It's not going to be an issue. It's pretty well made. So I've had a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to play that today and then play it again tomorrow. I just don't know whether I'm going to play all day tomorrow or split it between this. But that is the goal. But yeah, like if that's the kind of game that interests you, I'm pretty sure there's demos available for it, so it's kind of give it a look. Like you can watch videos of people playing it too, and you can probably get a pretty good idea of whether it's something you'd like to play or not. But I have enjoyed it. Like I like Monster Hunter, I like Tales games, so this kind of was in my wheelhouse. Not the best game I've ever played before, but it's one of the better games I've played recently. So, all right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Sorry RNG didn't work out today. I'll pray harder next time. That's about all I can do, really. Play harder and pray harder. Yeah, maybe we'll get a better one next time. But thanks again. Hope you guys have a good day. If I see you next stream, okay, see you then. If not, hope to see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.